In keeping with an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, this meeting will be conducted remotely over Zoom. Attendance by board committee members will be remote, and remote attendance shall count towards quorum. The meeting will be and is broadcast live and recorded on ECAT. So with that, I've got my rough list here. We're going to do a quick voice vote to make sure we're all here and loving life, and then we will jump off. With that, DiNardo.
DiNardo is here.
Olson.
Olson here.
Lamb.
Lamb here.
DiNapoli.
DiNapoli here.
And then Shireen is joining right now. Helen is here. And Diaz will add in a second. All right. We have quorum. We are in the meeting as of now. So I will hand it over to, hi everybody. Welcome to tonight's meeting. It's July 11th, 2024. I'm going to hand it over to Wendy to take us through the reserve fund transfer discussion. I put it in as the town accountant presentation. We're on the edge of our seats. I can't wait. All yours.
Thank you. So this request is for the fire department. It's a request for $40,000. They were looking to try to manage this overage in the department within the bottom line. They did have some vacancies in the public safety personnel line, if you look at the printout that was sent. But if you also look at like the overtime lines, you know, a lot of those are well over because they had to cover for those vacant positions. But close to the end of the year, they did get slammed with some people being out, and the numbers didn't go in the direction that they thought they were going to go to be able to cover everything. And there were some lines in the expense budget also that went over, and those are the ones that we're looking to supplement for this transfer. So the first one, repairs and maintenance for vehicles. That particular account is like over like by $12,581. I mean, everything just keeps going up, the expenses, the cost. So that's part of that line item. The ambulance billing fee, right now, it's over by $11,000, but we have not paid the last month's bill. So when we pay that, that's going to definitely be over by, you know, like more than 16,000. So that's what that line is. And yeah, we pay 4% to Pro EMS for the collection. So we had a really good year for collections, which is great. We've taken in about $1.7 million in ambulance receipts. And 4% goes to them.
I'll go right by my house. Question. This might be, John, this might be more in your realm, and I'm asking this more for the people that aren't here, the people at home. But am I wrong to assume that repair line item would be significantly higher if there wasn't a repair resource that has been co-located within the fire department recently?
Yeah, absolutely. That's just for supplies essentially.
Yeah,
that labor is included. Yep.
Okay.
Right. And the other thing too is that you know, this particular year too, they've been able to be a lot more proactive with their maintenance instead of just waiting till something breaks.
Good point.
You know, they're taking care of a lot more upfront to avoid more costlier problems in the future.
Yep. Okay, so the only question I have before I open up to everybody else is this is coming out of reserve fund, which, just to make sure, is this coming out of the FinCom reserve, or is this coming out of something else, and we're just part of the approval process for it? I want to make sure I understood that.
No, it would be the FinCom reserve.
Just wanted to make sure if this wasn't another association. Okay, so it's coming out of our slush fund. Don't tell anybody I said that. But 40K out of the FinCom side. What are we at after that 40K? Still 60? Were we at 100K as the holder?
Let me just
drop it down.
I want to say the budget's around like maybe 62,000 left, so it'd be like 22,000.
Okay.
Check. Give you an exact number.
Do we keep it at roughly 60 now? Is that our expected goal to keep it in the 60?
No, there were some transfers already made during the fiscal year. So the original appropriation is 100,000. Right
Okay,
now,
that's what I thought.
the balance is 62,502. So it'll be 22,502 after this. And this is sort of the last bite of the apple to make that transfer this year.
Sure.
And I was concerned that inspectional services might go over, particularly because they have those per diem inspections, and it's not like a weekly expense that you can necessarily like accurately predict.
Yeah.
But we did make that last payment, and they they still had money left over in their salary accounts from the other transfer. So it's just fire this year.
Got it. Okay, that's it for me. Finance committee. Does anyone else have any other questions, thoughts, comments they'd like to share?
I do have a quick question.
Hit it.
Thanks, Randy. Thanks, John. Just on the math, is it 1-for-1? It doesn't look like it's 1-for-1. So you're asking to transfer 40,000, but I'm not sure. Does this add up to 40,000, or are you just taking a little bit less, which is a little over $500?
Oh no, you might be looking at the present balance in the appropriation on the reserve fund transfer form. So it would be 12,000 for the R&M vehicles line, 16,000 for the ambulance billing fee, and then 12,000 for the medical supplies.
Okay, so that's what you actually need above and beyond, for example, the 12,000, the 11,000, 16,000.
Right.
Okay.
Yep. And that should bring the bottom line into balance, so that there might be a modest amount that's turned back at the end of the year, but this is basically what they're going to need to get through between now and the other expenses that might have been incurred but not yet paid.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah, it's Brian. Thank you both for the information. I had a question on the ambulance billing.
Yeah.
Is that a variable cost based on the number of calls? I'm just
it's a variable cost based on the amount that's collected.
Okay.
So whatever is collected.
Yeah, so we expected more and didn't, and this is just the shortfall. Is that kind of the way to describe it?
Yeah, that's part of it. You can't always predict like what it's going to come in at from year to year. And we definitely exceeded what we had budgeted.
Okay. And you mentioned that we haven't paid the bill yet. Is that an issue? Or have we slowed down the process of getting the bill paid because we're just meeting now, or it's okay that the bill's not paid?
Oh yeah, no, it's okay that the bill isn't paid. Okay. If the bill doesn't come in time, we'll encumber those funds out of the budget. So that it will still be charged to the fiscal 24 budget. But okay. Sometimes we don't get the bill in until a little later, and technically we're only supposed to like physically, pay the bills without encumbering them through July 15th.
Okay. Thank you. No, I'm good.
Anybody else?
Just another question, Wendy, and it's more, I guess, more to what Shireen was asking. So what happens, I mean, you said this is the last bite at the apple. So what happens if you're over and it goes beyond July 15th? Do it just count towards next year?
So if that was the case, if some other bills came in, we would have to hold those and not pay those. And we would take that to the fall town meeting as an unpaid bill of the prior fiscal year.
Our favorite warrant article, because it gets canceled almost every time.
Thanks for jinxing it.
We try to account for everything.
Well, I mean, look, we're gonna put that money into a little kitty. We're gonna earn 0.4% on it for a little while, and then we'll pay that bill. It'll be fine.
I have a question more around the procedure of how do we get funds in the FinCom funds? How does that work?
Free cash.
Free cash gets transferred. So does it go? Will free cash transfer it back to 100,000 at some point?
Oh, so it's just it's a line that's in the budget.
It's budget. I thought we were free cash transfers. Oh, I'm lying.
Nope.
Never mind.
No, okay. There is a actual line item in the budget for the reserve fund.
There you go. Great question. I didn't even know the answer, and I'm partially in charge of this damn thing.
Yep. Department 132.
Well, we upped it to 100K pandemic timeframe to happen that extra.
It was actually, I think, higher at that point, but I think we added to it anticipating that we were going to have more shortfalls.
Okay.
100,000 has been the norm.
It's a protectionist fund for us.
I don't mean to belabor the conversation, but you piqued my interest. If we have 100K in this line, do we really need 100K, or could we go with 50 and give that 50 to someone else? I mean, we just heard the whole budget for the year, right? Everyone's looking for some money. I know it's only 50K, but is it better off somewhere else?
Yeah.
But I don't want to. This is a different conversation.
Yeah, but well, I would just say though that aside this is one of the mechanisms that gives us some little flexibility, because really, we have 2 town meetings a year, so you either make things right at the special town meeting or you make up for it at the annual. But sometimes the budget can't wait as long as the annual town meeting.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when this fund comes in handy. There's another mechanism too called like the year-end transfers, which basically requires finance committee and like select board approval, where you can transfer between accounts, but that's closer to the end of the year as well. And July 15th is still the deadline for that.
Okay.
So, and I would say, with next year too, and especially with budgets are definitely running leaner. And I mean, we had to make some cuts to budgets in the expenses. So next year you might end up seeing a need for more transfers.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. No, I appreciate that education. That makes perfect sense.
Sure.
And in boom years, it just sits there, right? We don't refill it after a year we don't need to take from it.
It will just close to free cash.
Yeah,
just
goes
part of
right
the free
back
cash
out.
balance.
Anything else from anybody? You guys are all smart. Look at these questions. Keeping Wendy honest. This is great. All right. Seeing no additional questions, I am looking for a motion to approve the reserve fund transfer as Wendy has laid out.
So moved. Robert Jenkins.
Do I have a second?
Second, DiNapoli.
I knew it was coming. All right, I'm gonna go on my list here. DiNardo.
DiNardo is a yes, and thank you both for your diligence on the budget.
Olson.
Olson, yes.
Lamb.
Lamb is a yes.
DiNapoli.
DiNapoli, yes.
Diaz.
Yes.
Mr. Jenkins.
Jenkins, yes.
Mr. Helen is a yes. That passes unanimously. I think that's all we got, guys.
Hey, thank you.
Do I have to sign this, Wendy? I believe did I have to sign this before? I don't remember. You want me to, just in case?
It's always nice if you do, but if you don't, I mean, we have the meeting as a record.
I can sign it. I'll just sign it and send it over to you.
Okay, perfect.
I'll get that over to you tonight.
Take a picture with your phone and email it to me if you want.
Okay, that's fine. I've got a scanner. I'm high tech. I can just take care of it.
Excellent.
With that, there's nothing else on our agenda other than comments. Anyone have any comments? Shockingly, no. Weird. I'm looking for everyone's favorite motion.
Motion to adjourn, DiNapoli.
Do I have a second?
Second by Jenkins.
DiNardo.
DiNardo is a yes.
Olson.
Olson, yes.
Lamb.
Lamb, yes.
DiNapoli.
DiNapoli, yes.
Diaz.
Yes.
Jenkins.
Jenkins, yes.
I am a yes. That is a wrap, everybody. Thank you so much for jumping on this very quickly.
Thank you all for
Thank
your
you.
support. Really appreciate you taking the time to make this meeting, and I hope you all have a great summer.
Wendy, John, thanks so much for all your help.
Bye.
Enjoy your summer. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Bye, all.
Bye.